Welcome to this new project demonstration. We're going to be creating this abstract photo composite of this eye with the galaxy inside the eye. Pretty cool, right? All right, so we have all of our assets ready here in Artboard 2. You can also download it all from the Project C folder. All right, so this should be a little bit quicker and easier one than the previous couple projects just because it's a little bit simpler. And I'm going to go through this a little bit faster because I know you're getting more confident and you're better at Photoshop now too. So we're going to move our eye up just a little bit, just something like that. Then we're going to turn on our galaxy. We're going to move it over our eye. We're going to turn down the opacity, maybe like 50 or something. And we're going to try to get into a spot that looks pretty good going across that iris and the pupil. Something like that's going to look pretty cool. And then we just have to make this selection. So there's lots of different ways we can make a selection for the shape of the eye. Probably the easiest one is taking our quick selection tool. We're going to drag over the eye like that. We're going to select that white bit as well. And make sure you have your eye layer selected when you're doing this. And then we're going to click select and mask. We're going to really feather this out quite a bit and smooth it out. We want it to have like a smooth round edge and actually quite a bit of feathering just so it kind of blends in. So that looks pretty good. We're just going to use this as a selection at this point. Click OK. And then we're going to select our galaxy layer and click our layer mask button. And what that does is it actually creates a layer mask out of the selection that we just had. So if we increase our opacity, we can now play with our blend modes. So what we're looking at doing is something, I think linear dodge is kind of cool for this one. Screen, one of these lighten ones. We might just start with linear dodge. That one looks pretty fantastical. Pretty cool. All right, the next thing we have is this stardust texture. And so I'm going to rotate this to the right. We're going to increase the size of it, put it down like this, and we're going to change our blend mode. I think it's one of these darken ones or maybe the contrast ones. Something like overlay looks pretty good. I want it to be at the bottom and the top of this screen. So we could just move it down like this, or we can add a layer mask and erase part of this. So we're going to set our opacity to 100%. Whoops. Let's make that black and paint over it like so. So now it's just kind of like this bottom part. I'm going to duplicate this layer, just drop it in a new layer right there and rotate it 180 degrees just so you can see what I just did. Let's zoom out just a little bit, rotate 180 degrees and then bump it up just a little bit. So now this is kind of creating a little vignette of that bokeh texture, kind of a starry texture. I'm going to go back in here to our layer mask and erase the bottom of this layer. Cool, huh? All right, so we're getting there. We're getting there. All right, the next thing I want to do is add some color to this. So let's add a photo filter. So if we just add a photo filter with the adjustment brush or button down there, let's choose one of these cooling ones. Really bump up that density. You could also pick a specific color. Maybe I want something a little bit darker. Something like that's pretty good. You can see that in this one, though, it's a lot different, and that's because we're not just adding a photo filter right here. We are adding a vignette. Now, I haven't shown you this, but this is a quick way to create sort of a nice vignette. Go and create a solid color with this new item adjustment layer button. We're going to make it black. We're going to put this on top of everything except for our photo filter. And now in the layer mask, we're going to make our brush super big, something like this, and make sure it's super soft as well. And we're just going to brush out in the middle. Something like that. And that creates kind of a natural vignette. Now, comparing it to this artboard here, it still isn't as blue as I want. So I could go to my cooling filter here, crank that up as much as possible. We can also change the blend mode to see if that helps, or just choosing one of these other cooling filters. Let's see what blend mode does. One of those darkens might look actually pretty cool. Multiply and then drop our opacity just a little bit. So a little bit of a different color, set of colors, but I like it. Now I noticed this little detail that I had, this moon, which is in your photos bin. Add this to this layer, or to our artboard over here. And we're just going to place this in the pupil of our eye. So let's just change our blend mode just so we can see what's going on. One of these lighten ones will work for now, and we can just put it. And since the rest of the image is black, actually just leaving this as a lighten is going to work. Maybe we can see what screen does. Yeah, screen might be a little bit better. So it's just these little details that make a project better. So a little bit different than our original one, not quite as blue, but I actually like it a little bit more like this. The blue over here is a little intense. So that's how I would recreate this, and I can't wait to see what you are going to do with this. Thanks so much for watching, and enjoy this, and tag me on social media when you post this. Cheers!